Want to say the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, good morning. First on the agenda is the organizational meeting. We'll start off with the oath of office for newly elected officials. That would be the three of us. Do we just stand up here, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Raise your right hand, thank you. You do solemnly swear and affirm that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota, and that you will discharge faithfully the duties of the office of County Commissioner in the County of Hubbard, State of Minnesota, to the best of your judgment and ability.
I do.
I do.
I think Corey should be.
You solemnly swear or affirm that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota, and that you will discharge faithfully the duties of the office of County Sheriff in the County of Hubbard, State of Minnesota, to the best of your judgment and ability.
I do.
You do solemnly swear or affirm that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota, and that you will discharge faithfully the duties of the office of County Attorney in the County of Hubbard, State of Minnesota, to the best of your judgment and ability.
I do.
Thank you.
All right, next we'll move on to the election of a new board chair. Guess we'll open up by taking nominations,
Mr. Chair, I'll elect Tom. Make a
Thank you,
motion to
Shar.
elect Tom.
and I'll second that motion. Are there any other nominations? With none, all those in favor of Tom Kruger being our 2023 board chair, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Congratulations. Next we'll move on to the election of the vice chair.
I'll move to Bashar.
And I'll second that. And as there will be no other nominations, we'll move on to, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Congratulations. Tom, the passing of the gavel is now yours. I hope to someday be board chair again, but that's not up to me.
Hope you do too.
I know you'll do a good job.
All right, thank you. Does that go up there? I can use it.
With this crowd,
In case
you
I
might
gotta
wanna-
use it, huh?
might need- yeah.
Okay, well, I guess the first thing on the agenda is, let me move this down here too, is the committee chairs, number 1E. Are there
Mr.
anything?
Chair, I emailed the corrections I had to Jeff.
I had a couple of them. Let me bring up that form there.
So if we want to take a few minutes to make those edits, so Denise and I both have those changes.
Okay. One of them is security. Was that a board chair item, or was it?
Was it in 2022, that was a board chair.
Yeah, so right now it has Ted's name on it.
Maybe we should just change that to board chair.
Just say board chair on it.
Okay, what page is that on? Oh, there it is, page
Form.
2.
You found it?
First
Okay.
page, yep. Courthouse Security Committee. Right.
If we could, Mr. Chair, back up and start with the standing committees.
Okay.
The Labor Negotiating and Personnel Committee typically are following the same. We will not be doing labor negotiations in 2023, so that's not that critical. But the General Government Committee, this year was the chair and the vice chair. So if we start with that, that ends up also being the Preliminary Budget Committee. So do we want to follow suit with that, because that will trickle down through changes on the standing committees, or leave it as it is?
I've been on general government, oh, that's the Hubbard County one. Okay.
Yep.
I was gonna say, with AMC, I've been on the general government for 3 years, I think, so.
Yep.
Those stay the same.
Yeah, we'll get to the AMC ones, and they don't necessarily need to change, but a consideration is the general government for the Hubbard County Standing Committee has been the chair and the vice chair. Do we want that to remain the same?
This year, actually, it was myself and David was not the
Oh.
vice chair.
Yeah,
Right.
Tom was vice chair.
Yeah.
Maybe leave, Dave's not here, but leave him on and move Tom there because he's board chair.
Sure.
So chair and one other then? Is that how you'd word it?
It's evolving, so that's completely appropriate, but I do believe the chair should be on it.
Okay.
Okay. Move that to Tom.
So then we would should we move Ted to the personnel committee?
That's the simplest change. If
Yeah,
Good.
and we meet today, I
So you
believe,
got a
don't we?
meeting today?
We will.
Yeah,
All right.
and then just leave the rest as is?
And for right now, that would be appropriate.
Okay.
Anything else from that area in standing committees? Otherwise, what Shar mentioned in Mojave, and then there's another one on the Mental Health Advisory Council. You could take Josh Curtis's name off, and also Dean Swart. Dean has retired.
Okay, which page did you?
That would be page 6.
And Denise, on page 8, Mojave, Ottawa, I will be the commissioner, and the citizen at large, Mojave's gonna handle that.
Okay.
So Tom will be off, and then on page 9, we can delete the Prime Health Board because we no longer use those for insurance, but leave the Prime West Joint Powers Board on.
So you got the security committee, that's gonna be the chair. Have they been meeting very often, Ted?
Yeah.
How often do they meet?
Which is that?
Security.
I've never had a
It's
meeting.
kind of like,
Never- Okay,
not very often.
yeah.
So that moves back to the board chair.
Do you want to email us out when you're done?
I will, but I wanted to run through a couple of
Yeah.
things. If we could run through them in order, just so that I don't,
You have something else, Jeff?
yeah, on page 3, the ARPA Rescue Committee plan, we've exhausted that fund. I would propose that we can delete that committee.
Okay.
And the Capital Planning Committee, is that okay the way that it is?
Yes.
And Emergency Management is okay?
Yep.
We're gonna make the adjustments for Parks and Recreation.
Just a note, on the Law Library Board, we actually we just do an email vote.
Okay,
In the year, we actually don't meet.
okay.
And is Hubbard in prevention being covered?
Which page is that?
Seven.
So some of those, Tom, I think we should leave as is, and maybe one of us can just fill in as it's
Okay,
needed
okay.
until later.
Did we need to make any changes to the AMC standing committees, or are they fine for this year?
I'd like to be on the environmental committee.
Oh, I'd like to change to something too.
Tom would want to continue on the environmental
Yes.
committee then?
Yep.
Actually, everybody's kind of in their area of expertise,
Which one did you want to change to?
except me. So I guess I'm willing to stay where I'm at, because the rest of you already
Your-
are. have
Your
areas of
option would be to
expertise.
swap for transportation.
Yeah, Dan would know more about that than I do, so I guess I'll leave it as is.
I have a question, Mr. Chair. Would we be able to come back to the committee list in a month or two. Currently, I counted the list before we started updating. I was on 25 committees. Shar was on 22. And of course, I wrote that all down somewhere. Here you go. I was on 25, Shar was on 22, Tom was on 19, David was on 16, and Dan was on 17. So I'd kind of like to relieve myself of a couple of committees if possible.
Well, maybe once we got everyone here, we can go over it again.
Yeah.
This, we'll move to approve the committee list today because I need to send some things in, like the AMC
Okay.
notations I need to send in, but this list can be always modified by
Okay.
motion.
But you can wait until we got,
Yeah.
okay,
Full board.
sounds good to me.
And then, Mr. Chair, I just had a question on the committee appointments, because I've contacted my person. So then they're reappointed in their committee, is that where that's handled?
In which,
Well, if you go to the committee appointments and additions, I'm talking like about Parks and Rec.
okay, yep,
So they handle that in the,
they will handle that.
okay,
Yep.
thank you.
So Heartland Lakes will continue to be Commissioner De La Hunt and Christensen, Hubbard in Prevention. Did you want to make a change there?
Probably leave it the
Leave
same
it-
for now, but
leave
we
it
have
for now?
someone covering it. Okay,
Have you guys internally determined who is covering? Okay.
sure.
Kichigami is fine. What- Mr. Chair, what were the notes on Mental Health Advisory Council? I got removed Josh Curtis.
Oh, yeah, Josh Curtis and Dean.
An update with the current names.
Yes,
And also Land Classification Committee. Sandy won't be on that.
Yep.
Do we currently have a Chief Deputy Auditor-Treasurer? Forgive me for my ignorance.
No, we do not.
Do we want to add Minnesota rural counties to this?
It-
Minnesota Rural Counties is on here. The board chair is named.
Where am I
Right
not
in the
seeing
middle of
that?
the
Oh, here we
page.
go, okay, yep. Okay, with remaining commissioners, yep.
and on the ones that are due to be reappointed, all those have been reappointed?
Yeah, as far as North Country Community Health Board, I hope to be reappointed.
Oh, I'm talking about, like Parks and Rec, I think District
Parks and
2, District 4 needs to be reappointed.
Okay.
They do the at-large.
That'll-
HRA, Floyd Frank said he'll come back.
That'll happen at the Parks Board Committee, and we'll update when we get their action.
Well,
individ-
yeah, at-large, but I'm talking about District 2 and District 4. Those are the commissioner appointees,
Individually, if the commissioners have appointments,
right?
they'll let us know. We do have, I believe it's on the Extension Board, District 4, we have a vacancy, and we have not had a chance to reappoint.
Okay.
Did you talk to Floyd?
Yep,
Okay.
yep, he said he'll come back.
And with that, on the Extension Board, there's 2 people representing District 3.
I think part of that was we couldn't find people in other districts, if I remember correctly.
And I think what it was, I think it was Eva that moved from one district to another.
Oh, okay.
And that one can be at-large for all of them. It's not like the Board of Adjustment where you have
Correct.
to have within
Correct.
each district.
Okay. And maybe at the next extension meeting, we'll figure out which one will be named at large.
And just make sure that we get a copy of that action. Yep.
Anything else? Otherwise, we'll entertain a motion to approve the,
So move.
I'll second. Excuse me.
okay, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Okay, that one's done. Meeting procedures, 1F. Anything changes on what Jeff typed up there? It all looked fine to me.
Administratively, I think we need, is this where we have the address correct? Commissioner?
I was down at the bottom. So the second page, the district, the address is correct, but on the first page, my address is incorrect, where it lists the Hubbard County Commissioners for 2023.
Okay,
So just change it to the address there.
okay.
Thank you.
And I also noticed on page 5 of that document, it shows the 2023 board meeting schedule, but they're all 22 dates.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll correct that.
Okay.
You're very good at that.
Yeah, you are. And
Now-
also then, should we take up, we won't be meeting July 4th, so should we?
Well, that comes up, scheduled board meeting on the next one.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Yeah, then I think if you go down farther, there's another board meeting dates and they're the correct.
So that administratively, that's all that changed in the handbook for this year, was the update of the commissioner info and the board dates.
Yes, so Mr. Chair, I move to approve with corrections.
I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Right, and that passes. Next, we do have this schedule of board meeting dates.
And here they're in 23.
Okay, good.
But you'll note that we have July 4th as the first Tuesday in July. Do we want to take action to not have a work session in July, or just have one meeting and a,
Hate to go this far in advance, sometimes you have a lot going on with
Yeah, I
work
was just gonna
sessions.
say that. Maybe we
Yeah.
wait till a later date to decide that.
we can certainly do that.
Okay.
And there's another one, if you scroll up, December 5th.
That's
That
going to
one,
end up being
AMC.
the same conflict with AMC. Yep.
Gonna wait on that one?
I think so too. Maybe none of us will go.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
I'll make a motion, or do we need a motion on this?
We do. So, we just presumed we were going to follow the same schedule, that it was going to be the first and third for the regular board meetings and the second Tuesday for the work session, and that's how we came up with this calendar. If we approve the regular schedule, then we don't have to publish individual dates for regularly scheduled meetings. We'll just have to publish revisions to those, so we know we probably have 2 revisions.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting dates for 2023.
I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? No, there's no one else. Okay, moving on. Oh, okay.
And then, Mr. Chair, that would conclude the organizational meeting and would be on to the regular agenda.
Yep. And that starts with public input.
Oh,
Any-
we need agenda approval first.
Oh, okay, agenda approval.
Are there any corrections or additions, or?
I have one addition, and that would be on December 20th, we approved the budget that included the new positions. And you can see that in here, we've got Health and Human Services, Social Services is here to approve the budgeted positions for that office. And I just got a text from Corey and said I didn't get mine in. So he's asking that we would approve the position that he requested as well, which would be the patrol sergeant.
Okay.
So if we could add that under administrator, whatever number that is, 13C.
Let's see.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I'll move to approve the agenda with the addition.
Okay, I'll second. Now let me get my name in there a little bit.
The consent agenda.
Yep, the consent. Wait, but that was agenda approval.
That was for
Yeah, that's
agenda
the
approval.
agenda, so we need
Excuse
to
me.
vote on
Yeah.
that,
Yep. Okay, any further discussion? If not, all in favor, let's say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign? Okay, that's approved. Now we have public input. Not- Okay. Happy New Year, yeah. Oh, Okay, no public input, we'll close that and move on to the consent agenda. Is there any items to be changed, or anyone want to pull something from the consent agenda? Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve?
Well, I'll make a motion to approve, and just to note that the Minnesota Employment Program, the SEP actually went down in price.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion? Not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. None, okay, no opposed. It's done. Okay, employee recognition. All right, we've got several of them. Sandra Ritkers, there she is way in the back there. Her party's today too, right, at 1 o'clock? Yeah, everyone's invited to come to that. She's been Deputy Auditor-Treasurer and is recognized for 35-plus years of service from July 16th, 1987 to January 3rd, 2023. And oh, you got a certificate for her.
Don't get signed, if you'll just take a photo and hand it off to her.
This next one. Owen Highway Department, we have Andrew Belbo, Assistant Shop Foreman, began the full-time position January 1st. Okay, and then for Sheriff, Seth Cohn, Patrol Sergeant, is recognized for 5-plus years of service from May 8th, 2027 to January 4th, 2023. Is he here? Nope, okay. We'll have a certificate for him when we get that to him. And then Social Services, Nicole.
Nicholas.
Oh, no, yeah, Nicholas, and Sheriff's Barn, Dahl, Deputy Sheriff, began full-time position January 29th, 2022. Okay. And Nicole Trudeau from Social Services, Transit Dispatch, began the part-time position January 3rd, 2023. I never miss these things when I'm reading it, not being chair, but oh,
I
now
know,
it's a different story here.
I feel your pain.
Okay, that's done. Now we have HRDC, Regional Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy. And I didn't get, are you Antonio?
Good morning.
Hi, good morning. I'd like to hear what you have to say.
All right. Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you for your time, and congratulations, Tom, on your new role there with Hubbard County. I'm Antonio Franklin, Economic Development Planner at Headwaters Regional Development Commission. I've been there for a little bit over 2 years. Prior to that, I've worked at Thief River Falls as their Executive Director, and then Lacopral County Economic Development Authority as their project manager. So I've been in economic development for a little over 5 years now. Before I dive in, I want to introduce my colleague Tony and just kind of share the work that we're doing around transportation.
Perfect. Thank you, Commissioners. I'm Tony Clares, Community Development Planner for HRDC. I've been at HRDC coming up on a year now. Primarily, I'm doing most of my work would be focused around transportation and active living projects. We just completed the local human service transportation coordination plan. We're going to be applying for an RTCC here in February, so there's going to be some movement on public transportation, and we'll be able to help assist coordinate transportation. You guys do a great job with your public transit on the majority of the people, but where the RTC will provide value is on those ones and twos that don't fit the perfect mold for your current public transportation. The other thing we do is safe routes to school planning, active living projects. I work with Jadelt quite a bit, reach out to him. We do have a safe routes to school application that we're going to be putting in here next week for LaPorte schools, so we're really excited about that. We're working on a couple of active living projects there as well. And then also working with our MnDOT contracts. So we've been down here doing the drone walks as you guys start to prepare for the reconstruction on 34. But we're here to help. I'm here to help. If there's anything that HRDC can do to better support the work that you guys are doing, please let me know or let Ted know, and he can get in contact with me too. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. And then just to add, Headwaters Regional Development Commission, we also do housing development, community development, and economic development planning, strategic planning, grant writing, and we provide technical assistance and capacity, like we've done in Park Rapids for the Park Rapids Arts and Armory. I assisted them a few years ago with building the capacity for marketing on their website, and then also we helped with the Heartland Lakes development with Mary. So just to try to show some of the work that we do in the community. And we also have one of the largest revolving loan funds in the state at $7 million. So that acts as gap financing for businesses that can't or also need additional funding when they're trying to do, when they're starting their business. So. All right, so I'll dive right in. So why am I here? I'm presenting our comprehensive economic development strategy for the region. We need this document to maintain our eligibility for funding through HRDC as an economic development district. It's also needed too, there's a lot of state and federal funding grants that now are requiring that there is a tie to a regional plan. So a lot of our counties, the issues intersect boundary lines, water lines, so we kind of have this strategy to kind of have more of a comprehensive approach to working on economic development and community development activities in the region. So the other purpose of this as well is to provide recommendations. So these serve as recommendations for the region. They're not required, but we identify within the strategies who the partner could be that can carry out these strategies. So a little bit of overview and what we've done differently with the SEDS. So the last document was completed in 2016. One thing I've included was more stakeholder engagement. So we created a survey to provide and get more input from our stakeholders, which include businesses, nonprofits, and then other sectors that we would like to chime in as well to provide goals and strategies for this plan. The other piece as well that we changed was adding more GIS mapping, geographical information system maps to the plan. We had an intern from BSU, so there's environmental features that we highlight in there, regional links such as our roads, airport, a lot of, and then highlighting projects too that are currently going on. So we looked at those things as well. And then part of that as well is looking at inventory of our region to survey currently what is our current condition, where do we need to go. So we used data, we used community stakeholder engagement to drive this plan. The other piece is a regional snapshot. I think it's important to kind of pull out in this, all these pages of document to show kind of how our region is doing and the overall economic health of our community. So that's what's different. The other piece here too is looking at what has changed, not just here in Hubbard County, but also in the region. So, broadband has improved here. It's moved from a ranking of 46 to 21. There are broadband opportunities coming up that I'll share with you at the end here and invite you to a small city summit that I'm putting together for our stakeholders. The other thing that we look at looking at the pandemic is our industries and housing and childcare, and we've seen a lot of impact during that when I was helping with the business grants that we administered for counties throughout the region. So we've seen a lot of specifically the retail and accommodation sector suffer. So we don't have much of a diversified economy. So looking at how can we increase and bring in different industries that can drive our economy. So that's highlighted too in the SEDS. So what I've shared with you guys, I gave you guys a executive summary of the SEDS. And I'll kind of just recap the vision here so you can kind of see what kind of led these goals and strategies. So the Headwaters region will be a region that is inclusive, adaptive, innovative, and globally accessible. I'll highlight the regional priorities, and as we're going through here, if there's things that need to be changed, updated to the SEDS, you guys are more than welcome to provide that. We had this in the public for 30 days, so for a 30-day public comment, as well as presenting it to our 5 county boards and then to our board for adoption. So affordable and quality housing is regional priority number 1. Skilled and available workforce. Broadband availability and access, that won't become much of an issue here over the next 5 years with the new funding that's coming. It will connect every county within our region, border to border. Infrastructure and transportation improvements. Tony had mentioned some of the things he's working on. Those are highlighted as well in the SEDS, in the goals as well as strategies. Environmental sustainability, that looks different throughout our region, but it's a primary focus because our natural features and environmental are not just a economic boost to our economy, but they're also important that we look at ways to protect them and become more resilient and looking at different things such as renewable energies as well. Childcare access and affordability, that's needed, always a important and needed thing throughout the region. Improved business climate and access for startups, that came from our stakeholder survey to improve access to financing and the overall resources that are available for our businesses. And more developable land. The more that we have land that is not just marketed throughout the state, but throughout the country, that we have sites that are ready and have hookups. I think that's what that priority is referencing there. And then on the next page, I have our strategic direction. One of the good things is our region did increase in the number of firms, more primarily in Beltrami and our regional hub. So when we look at, we have these 4 different cornerstones: human capital, economic competitiveness, community resources, and foundational assets. Human capital is how skilled and how our people are. So looking at who's working and who has education or what skill level. So goal number 1 under human capital, increase labor force participation rate by 2% by 2027. Again, it's a 5-year plan. Increase per capita income by 4% by 2027. And then moving on to economic competitiveness, increase innovation intelligence index for Headwaters region, 215% by 2027. The innovation intelligence index is a tool that measures our entrepreneurs, our number of firms, and how innovative the people within the entrepreneurial and business community are. So it takes a lot of different metrics to provide that number. The next thing is increase the number of firms, or excuse me, the second goal, increase the number of firms in the Headwaters region by 60 by 2027. Moving on to community resources, there's 3 different categories here. So tourism, arts and culture, equity and inclusion, environmental, and energy and environment. So the first one is to increase visitor spending by 5% by 2027. Arts and culture is as important here as it is throughout the region, and it brings in quite a bit of money, more than our recreation. Increase employment in arts and tourism by 5% by 2027. Equity and inclusion, increase cross-cultural collaboration and diversity on community projects and initiatives. And the last one here, energy and environment, promote the region's quality of life through natural amenities and recreation while supporting ecological preservation. The last piece is foundational assets. First goal is 5 new state or federal project investments by 2027. Broadband, I don't see this being, again, part of the foundational assets in the future. It'd probably be more looking at, how can we use our technology to become more of an attractive community to manufacturers and to new residents. So increase the region's broadband speed to 100 megabytes per second over 20 by 2027. Increase the number of households with computer access and internet. I think that's always going to be an ongoing thing. Transit and active transportation. Increase the access and availability of transportation options in the region. And then housing. Increase the number of affordable housing units for low to moderate income households. We're working with Bagley right now in a small cities development program. These are things that we can help and work with your community on as well to provide housing opportunities. Wastewater infrastructure. Several of our counties are in need of improvements to their underground water system. So decrease the number of communities that are out of Minnesota Pollution Control Agency compliance by 2030. I'll also be sending you guys some information to invite you to a workshop about federal change of needing communities, counties to update their underground sewer system that has traces of lead by 2024. I'll share some more information and invite you guys to that as well. Any questions on the strategic direction? Okay. And then the next page, I won't go too deep into this. I know you guys got other stuff on the agenda, but the action plan lays out the strategies that under each one of those cornerstones that I had mentioned. And then just the cornerstones are, you're probably wondering why we have these cornerstones. Our Minnesota Association of Development Organizations uses this framework with all of our regional development organizations to guide this SEDS plan. So I also have in there a resolution. If there's any questions, anything that you guys have in general, now or even after this meeting, please let me know. We'll get that added. And starting we're in January already, 2023. We're doing something different. We've partnered with the University of Minnesota Extension Office and our partner colleagues, Northwest Regional Development Organization, to do a joint SEDS. So it's actually going to be a 5-year process. We want to increase the amount of participation that we have in the SEDS to make it stronger. So I will be inviting you guys to that meeting as well.
I have one question.
Yes, sir.
You said increase number of firms by 60 by 2027. I mean, what constitutes a firm? I mean, what size of a business?
Anything from small to large. I mean, so.
Could be a family-owned business? Oh, okay.
Correct, yep.
I was just thinking, if
So-
it was bigger, it would be pretty hard one to meet. Okay.
Right. So I probably can add that, add more detail to that, both small and large firms. So, thank you.
My question was, out of the $7 million of revolving loan funds, how do communities find out about that, community businesses?
Yes. So we work with banks. They're our primary partner that we work with to identify those that might need gap funding. And we also work with economic development professionals like Mary Thompson or Dave Hingle in Bemidji to identify additional startups that are in need. Or Northwest Minnesota Foundation has the Small Business Development SBDC that works and provides technical assistance to businesses. Or they can just give us, reach out to any one of our staff. We are very well versed in what the revolving loan fund is and connect them to the right person.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And just the amount on that, so the max on that is $350,000 with the minimum of $15,000. It could be used for anything, working capital, any startup costs that don't involve construction. We don't do construction because of the Davis-Bacon wage requirements and the amount of capacity needed to manage. And we are looking at that in the future, though, so we can provide more opportunities. And we're also looking at how can we be more equitable in our lending to those that can't provide that owner equity on businesses. So we're looking at different ways to expand our fund. Any other questions? Well, I appreciate your guys' time, and then just one last little plug here. Next January 11th at 1 p.m., I'm doing a different way of engaging with our partners and stakeholders in the region. We're going to be doing bi-monthly small city summits, so bringing different topics and resources to you guys and making sure that you guys are always aware of not just changes going on with our demographics, but also opportunities that we have in the region. So I think I'm looking forward to hosting that, and right now we'll be on Zoom and having a community host that within their community. I think that's going to be the plan there, so.
So Ted's the one who keep us updated on what's going on? Is it-
Yep, Ted or myself.
He's the one, okay.
Yep,
I see next Wednesday on the 11th at 1 o'clock is the small city Zooms.
yes.
So if that's being hosted, say, in Bemidji, then can you meet there in person
Yep.
or via Zoom?
Yes, I'd like to have it as a hybrid, so both in person and in Zoom, but I think it's going to give us an opportunity to not just continue to share updates that HRDC is doing, but bringing in not just funding opportunities, but even our legislators, so you guys can advocate and share things that need to be changed at state level as well, so,
I like that option, because if I can, I like to be there in person.
yeah.
But then there's some times where, you know, you're gonna miss a couple meetings because I have to drive over here, so that would be nice if that was Zoom, so I like the hybrid option.
Yes, yep, I think it'll be good,
Thank you.
yep. Thank you, guys.
Is it Tony for short, or is it Antonio?
Antonio,
Antonio,
Yep.
okay. I want to make sure I get it right.
Yep.
All right.
we get names confused here. My dad actually goes by Tony. I'm a junior, so,
Okay.
yep.
All right, well, thank you, Antonio.
Yep, thank you, guys. Have a good new year.
Okay, highway is next.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
We have a resolution here.
Oh, we had the resolution.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It's on,
I gotta get back. My computer went down. I'm gonna get that back up.
it's in this packet,
Okay.
towards the back. So I don't have any page numbers here.
It's right after appendix.
Yeah. I guess it would be technically page 42 or 43. And since we just got done speaking with the HRDC, I'd like to make a motion that we pass this resolution.
I'll second. Okay, any discussion? None? Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? No? Okay, that passes.
Thank you.
Anything else?
No, I think we're good, thank you.
Okay, all right. Thanks for getting that. Now we got highway.
All right, good morning. First on our agenda, we've got to review the quotes for the hanging heater in the wash bay. And last board meeting, I received approval to move forward with a hanging tubular radiant heater in there, but we were a little confused on the way that the quote was put together, and we assumed that we were getting the one unit option one with the stainless option for the increased price, and that was not the case. The stainless add-on was for a smaller hanging heater that would go in there from Samuelson Laney, not the tubular radiant heat. And so when we went back to the quotes for the non-stainless units, Northern Pines Plumbing, Heating, and Electric out of Park Rapids was actually lower on that one if we were gonna compare the apples to apples. So Northern Pines Plumbing and Heating and Electric did submit a quote to us for a stainless unit, as you see number 3 on your quote sheet, for the $6,000. That's another 33% higher than the non-stainless unit. The downfall of the non-stainless unit is that the warranty will not apply because it's used in the situation such as a wash bay. So that's, I guess, a good thing that would go with the $6,000 quote, but I guess my recommendation would be to go with number 1, the low from Northern Pines Plumbing and Heating. That's the same type of unit that we have in there now, and it's lasted quite a while, so 20 years.
That was gonna be my question, If that's what's currently in there and it lasted decades?
Yeah, 20 years, yep.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, so, I mean, we're comfortable with it, but, you know, you don't have your warranty, so if something goes wrong. But this is a, you know, it's a cost that's split by multiple departments, small for each deal,
That's
but we do
less-
have to have heat in there.
Less than the one that was approved last month.
It is less, correct. We thought we were getting a stainless unit for the little bit more, and when we compared the stainless, what we thought was the stainless price from Samuelson, we compared that to the $6,000 from Northern Pines. When we found out that that was not a stainless unit, then we had to go back and we had to look at the other quote from Northern Pines, so then you can see that they are actually lower. So, unable to go with the other one, so.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
Yes, I'll make a motion to accept the low quote from Northern Pines.
I'll second.
Okay. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, say aye.
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 And no opposed. Okay.
Thank you. Second is to set public hearing dates for, we have a couple policies that we need to implement. One is an ADA transition plan, and the other one is the Title VI policy. Title VI is the civil rights, the discrimination, Title VI. And as recipients of federal money, those are two policies that we have to have in place, and we have quite a bit of federal money coming in this year, so prior to construction happening and us accepting that federal money, we need to have these in place. ADA transition plans have been out there for quite some time. There's requirements through that act that say when you do certain work on roadways, if there's adjacent sidewalks, you need to make everything ADA compliant. And even without the transition plan, we've already taken steps to make sure that we're compliant with that, but this would be the final step in getting a policy, plan adopted. Same thing with the Title VI policy. We go through proper steps in awarding projects and checking certain contractors and making sure that discrimination policies are upheld. But nonetheless, we do need a policy. And so I would ask that we set public hearings for both of those. I don't believe they're actually required for both. I think one is required. The other one I just think is a good thing to do. I think it's, I guess what I would ask is maybe we address this at a work session first. I've got draft policies for both of these. Send those out to you in plenty of time for that. Have the work session, we can discuss what direction you would like to see us go. And then put it out for some public comment prior to the public hearing. And then have the public hearing, and if there's more input at that point, maybe we take a couple weeks before you actually adopt it and we make some changes, update the drafts and whatever. So this isn't a process that's just gonna happen, you know, bing, bing, bing. I would say it's probably gonna take a couple months. So the sooner we could get it on a work session, the better to address these two. And then the other part of that is, I think we need to discuss whether these should be countywide policies or if you want them, you know, separated. The two drafts that I would send you are highway specific, since that's all we have the ability to enact, but
So would you like to see it on next week's work session?
I don't know what your schedule looks like, but that would be great. Yeah, if you're available next week, we got room on the schedule next week to do that. And the conversation is relevant as to whether there should be a countywide policy. I don't know that we've done the investigation. We can have part of that conversation then. But we do, Jed and his team are ready to move forward with these from their perspective. So we could do that if we adopt a countywide policy. It would just by reference include the stuff that the highway department has already done. So we can certainly put that on next week's for conversation. That would be great.
Okay.
And then you could set public hearings later, I would guess. We can set the date for the public. We can discuss those and set Yeah. those then on the 17th. Okay. Very good. Then project-wise, we got, I think I mentioned last board meeting, we've already got some projects that are being advertised and let this month. We've got one coming in on the 10th for the Casan 9 project. Fair Avenue for the city will come in on January 18th, and two more projects on January 20th. So again, a busy month for advertising and lettings for us, but we think it's good because we're gonna get on the dockets for these contractors early this year, so.
Your plow crews have gotten a little rest there the last week, because it's been pretty busy, hasn't it?
Yeah, they've had a busy winter already. They were out a little bit on Sunday for some slick conditions. Yeah, so, but no, they're doing well, but they're getting some hours in, yep.
Well, certainly appreciate the work.
You bet. Thank you.
Okay.
morning.
Good morning.
So I'm here today regarding getting approval for our contract with US Imaging to index all of the remaining historical documents that we have left to do. So currently, we have approximately 100,000 documents dating back from 1957. All documents prior to that have been scanned and fully indexed and are searchable by the public. So if we move forward with this project, then all documents throughout time will be easily searchable, should speed up the transfer process, and allow for better searching by the public. So that's basically it. And, oh, I should also mention that this is it's to be paid out of the Recorder's Compliance Fund, not just a general budget item.
Are your estimates for the number of documents pretty accurate? I'm just wondering if there needs to be a cap on this or something.
Actually, I'm guessing they'll be slightly lower than that. We've been manually indexing them, well, for many years, but we tried to get them under that 100,000
Okay.
mark so that we were right on. So I would guess it'll be like slightly lower than that, but yes.
Do
we
you
should
think
be good.
208,000
Yeah.
would be a good figure then? Okay.
Yeah, probably slightly lower would be
Okay.
my guess, yes.
That's the only question I had.
If you or your staff were to do this yourselves, what kind of timeline would you be looking at?
My best guess, based on, we've been doing it for the past 15 years, and I've been tracking over the past year how many we get. I would estimate that it would take us another 10 to 15 years to finish, based on, you know, the number of documents that we get in recorded. It could fluctuate a little bit, but 10 to 15 years would be my estimate for us to finish completely.
Okay, and this company, US Imaging, do they have a guess at how long it would take them?
Yes, 12 to 18 months is their estimate for how long it'll take.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And this project was in the submitted budget, and showing the use of compliance funds for that.
I have 2 comments. As long as I've been on the board, you guys have been working on trying to get this done. And secondly, the US Imaging contract, they only deal with counties, so they have a pretty reputable, I would think.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Yeah. And so I'm going to move to approve.
Okay. I'll second. Oh, beat you to it. Okay, any further discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I heard all 3, so no opposed.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, social services, was 2023 positions.
Good morning. Congratulations, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. Today, we just have coming before you to get the approval for the positions, excuse me, that we had budgeted for. We have the adult social worker that'll be working with managed care, the child support officer, which is new, and then a collections officer, which is within complement. We had eliminated the social services information specialist senior, and then the child protection lead worker, which is within complement. We will not be backfilling that social worker position. It was more of it'll just be a lead. They'll have a smaller caseload, more specific, and then they will be, providing that lead work for them.
Gina?
I just want to add, when you make your motion, because of our classification policy, the collections officer and the solid waste, or the social worker lead position will need to go to DDA for classification as well. So per policy, it needs board approval for that to happen as well. So if we
Yep.
can wrap all that into one motion, that'd be great.
Yeah.
All these positions were already approved. I saw it on the October list that Gina put out, so, yep. Any discussion? Okay, need a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the positions and to work with DDA on the classifications.
I'll second.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. All 3?
Thank you very much.
And then, Mr. Chair, I think we're gonna pull item 10A per our conversation earlier this morning
Okay.
about wanting to have a full board here prior to setting the date for that, or at least know that we're gonna have a full board prior to having the date for that public hearing.
Yeah.
And I texted Jonathan to ask if it was okay to pull it for today, but I didn't get a response. I'm sure he's busy with the weekend traffic. But I would recommend we pull 10A and carry it forward to when we know we're gonna have 5 board members.
Okay.
I would agree.
Yeah, so I would too. And I'm just wondering if it's a topic that the public would really be interested in, if we maybe have a special meeting in the evening for it? You think that
I'm
would be?
I'm assuming that we're gonna set the date for the public hearing to be in the evening, yes.
Yeah,
And that
okay.
when we prepare dates for you to choose from, I think we'll have that as an evening meeting.
Yeah, yeah, more people involved, the better.
Yep.
Okay. All right, so is consensus to do that?
Yep.
Okay, all right, well, that's what we'll do. Human Resources, Gina.
Good morning, Chair, members of the board. Before you with Human Resources, our first item, 11A, is to approve a professional services agreement with MedSurety. They administer COBRA and State Continuation Administration. They also have other services that the county already has with the provider WEX. But for specific COBRA and State Continuation Administration, we are requesting the authorization to obtain their services. This is upon the recommendation of myself and the county administrator. Payment for these services would be from the Human Resources budget. For the 2023 budget, some item I was able to remove services that we were being entered into with some of our benefit administration, because that will be covered in the next item, 11B. So there's a cost savings there that we'll also be able to utilize for these professional services with the MedSurety. We're looking at approximately an annual fee of about $4,000 for these services.
Mr. Chair, I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, any more discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, it's approved. Next,
The second item we have before today is the 11B Ultimate Kronos Group, known as UKG. They call their contract an order form. We're requesting approval of UKG's order form. It was handed out to you this morning. We were finalizing off some final details with that we met with them last week on that. Basically, this is a new system that Hubbard County will be able to go to that will wrap all of our HR services into one platform package. The order form that was handed out to you this morning describes the type of packages that we're going to be receiving. I did have highlighted on page 2 in the updating on their end, they missed some numbers, so the highlight on page 2 of the launch fee, actually the 3,080 is actually from the previous one we had received as well too. That number is actually $35,840, so a bit of a typo that they had, but so we got that corrected quick this morning, and so they will send an update with that as well too. This UKG platform is sponsored by the Minnesota County's Computer Cooperative. It's a group that we belong to with the county, with other divisions in the county as well too. That MCCC went and requested proposals on behalf of counties to get into a single platform. So we're able to have pricing, tiered pricing for the services as well too, for the Pro Core of the HR and payroll process. So the more counties we get involved with this, the more that the price can be reduced on a per employee, per member month fee. They implemented this program back in 2020, I think in 2021. They started on a initiation process of they had some early adopter counties where they only had, say, 3 or 4 counties who started off the process, what's the bugs, what's the glitches, with that. Then they gradually brought on a few other counties with that as well too. So I think we all know in experiences of other platforms that get implemented and with technology, the pros, the cons, the ups and downs. But this is a good filtered system working through the MCCC. We will be able to update our payroll system, which will be great, and we'll be able to get our human resource services on one platform. That will be great for our office and our department to have more lean processes and in technology, so we're not doing this part here on this spreadsheet and this part here and this other module for benefits, and it'll all be wrapped into one platform. Plus for our employees as well, it's going to be a single sign-on that they can go to this platform and have these services here for them as well too. So we're very excited about it. That'll be a lot of work, but it will definitely be where Hubbard County needs to go. So we're requesting approval. Myself and the county administrator, Jeff has worked with Kronos before type platform as well too, so he's experienced these technology updates to county as well too, and it is paid from the human resources budget.
Any discussion, or do you have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second. Any further discussion? If not, all want to approve, say aye.
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 Aye. Didn't hear any objections, so that's approved.
Awesome, thank you so much.
All right, that takes care of everything you have.
Yes.
Next is Jerry.
And Mr. Chair, this is really kind of a formality, but we want to recognize Jerry as many times as we possibly can. So last fall, we had an opportunity to have a conversation about whether or not we wanted to reappoint Jerry as Veteran Service Officer.
Do you want to come back for 4 years?
I'll come back for 4 years.
Or I was hoping.
Happy to be here.
Right.
So we could take a motion just to recognize it.
I will gladly move to approve.
I will second. Thank you.
Any further discussion?
You do just a fantastic
Yep.
job.
I'm honored to
Honored
serve.
to have you.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
No against, so another 4 years.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Thanks. Thank you for the work you do. Thanks.
Okay, we're to the administrator.
Hitting the home stretch now. Item 3A, Mr. Chair, is a request to participate in the Gazebo Resource Development Association, a letter of support. Now, last year, we chose not to participate, but I got the letter, so I put it here for you to decide. I don't decide those things.
If you note on the letter, it starts off addressing the Hubbard County Board Chair, Marcel Noyes.
So, yeah, I mean,
That, I think, is a bad way to start.
and plus I looked at the website, and it's like still under construction, so, what are they doing? I don't think very much. Not worth the money, not worth the time. They need a motion to not, or just simply nothing, do nothing?
It'd be great to have a motion not to
Okay.
participate.
I'll make a motion to decline membership.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? None? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that's approved.
And then item 13B, Mr. Chair and Commissioners, we received only one bid for local newspaper for official publication, and it was from the Park Rapids Enterprise. You have a copy in front of you. And the per inch rate is at $3.85.
How'd that compare to last year?
I could look it up.
I can answer that if you want.
Would you please?
Yeah, sure, it's exactly the same.
I didn't think it had changed.
Okay. Well, I have no problem with going with Enterprise again. Any other comments?
Well, with the Park Rapids Enterprise being the only paper to have submitted a bid, I'll make a motion that we approve the Park Rapids Enterprise as the county's official newspaper.
Okay. And I'll second that. Okay, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, that passes. Thank you.
And then the added item, commissioners would be to fill the approved positions in the 2023 budget for the sheriff's office. And I believe it was just the patrol sergeant that was the position left to fill because we already added the positions for the jail dispatch last March.
Mr. Chair, I'll move to approve.
This is Ted, I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 And then the last item that I have, unless you have questions for me, is we just talked about work session agenda for next week. We currently have Mary Thompson from HLDC and Ellers to come and talk about a housing project and tax abatement as a possible tool to make that work. And then we'll add the items that the county engineer asked us to add as well. And I think that'll probably be a pretty full agenda for next week unless there are other items you'd like to see then.
Not that I know of.
I had a question that's not related to this work session,
Yep.
but speaking of the law library committee that doesn't meet except via email, discussion was had a little bit about moving the law library. When will capital planning be starting to take place?
Sometime around the end of the first quarter, we'll be bringing forward the capital plan and bringing forward so the items on the capital plan that we talked about, the budgeted items for 2023, those are capital items that were budgeted in 2023. They'll still need to be approved. But the idea of the county having a countywide capital plan needs to go through the public hearing process. So we'll be bringing that plan through general government again, and then hopefully sometime before the mid part of the year, we would be having a public hearing and moving the capital plan forward.
Okay, all right, thank you.
That's all we got, Jeff?
That is it.
We'll come back to committee reports. AMC Legislative Conference, I know I was originally wanting to go, but it's gonna kind of conflict with a planned vacation that I have, so I'm thinking I'm not gonna be able to. Just
Coordinate.
MRC does have a meeting on the first day.
I know they do.
Yeah, that's coming Monday? Or,
Well,
excuse me,
the 9th, January 9th I'll go to, but and the first day of the conference
The 21st, it's,
on the 21st.
so we'll have a meeting in the morning, and then the MRC will be in the afternoon on Tuesday that week.
February 21st, which I won't be able to make then.
But
Okay.
they might be Zooming it.
I can probably attend by Zoom if they do.
Yeah, and I like to go to MRC meetings, so if it's Zoomed, I'll make it. I'm not sure I'm attending the conference, so.
I'll go to the one in person on January 9th. It's in Alexandria?
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
The only other meeting to note I will throw on here, and we have time to discuss it one more time, is the Hubbard County Township Association meeting has been rescheduled to January 30th this month due to a conflict with, they wanted to use this room on the 23rd, and the 23rd is our planning commission set date. So I believe that notice has already gone out. I shared a Zoom link with Theora, so I think that invitation's gone back out, but I want to remind people a couple of times.
And I gotta take my wife to Fargo to get her eyes checked that day, so I hope, anybody else gonna be able to make it?
I'll be going.
Okay, good.
I'll be here for that too.
weather permitting.
Yeah, weather permitting, yeah. Yeah, weather permitting, if it's bad weather, we'll be spending the night in Fargo then. Okay, we still have committee reports. I don't have any because there's no meetings. Ted?
I had the solid waste, the Boston incinerator, basically kind of talked about year-end numbers. Garbage volumes are down a little bit. Recyclable prices are way down. I don't have those figures, but we're getting hammered. There's some cardboard and other papers that they can't even get rid of right now at this point. As you know, with the solid waste budget we talked about earlier, The tipping fee is going up another $5 this year per ton, making it, I believe it's $80 a ton now. And I think that's really, it was a short meeting, and that was kind of the highlights of it. And the other meeting I had was the managers meeting last Tuesday. You were also there.
I figured you'd cover it, so
Yeah.
I didn't say anything.
And there again, year-end discussion about what departments were doing and getting geared up for next year. So there was a lot of the department heads had nothing to add, basically. And when Jeff running the meeting reviewed the budget a little bit in the process that we were at there, and that was about it.
What's recycling? Do you have any, did they talk about what's going on probably countrywide to increase the market for recyclable goods?
No, it's kind of like a supply and demand type of a thing. You would think with cardboard, with all the things that are getting shipped, that there would be a big demand for that.
Yeah.
But I think part of the problem is there was 2 cardboard recyclers in the state, now there's only 1. And now what their capacity is to produce cardboard, and you've got everybody in Minnesota wanting to send it there, they're kind of holding all the cards, you know. If you want to get rid of cardboard, you're gonna have to sell it at the price they want to pay for it.
So I don't know what prices are now, but I know in the past it has been, in order to make cardboard, it's cheaper to recycle old cardboard.
Yeah. And like I say, right now, if you can only produce so much cardboard, and you've got the whole state wanting to send you all their recyclable cardboard. And then there's been some too that was rejected because it got wet, you know, stuff like that. But it's like a lot of things. There's a glut of plastics and papers and everything out there. For the recyclers that want to recycle, they've already got enough, you know, they've got a lot of recyclable stuff that they can recycle. It's not like they're looking for it, it's right there.
Shar, do you have anything?
The Heritage Board. So, they've turned a corner on hiring. They hired 9 people in November, so that was up. And they got rid of 1 contract for nursing, which is what, because of the hire, which is part of the reason that we're losing money is because that's so expensive. The Heritage Manor, the housing, they have room to house 26, there are 12. The cottages have room at 18, and they're just about full, 17. And the Heritage Living Center, they have staff for 35, and in November they were at 33. So even though each one is still losing money, it's not a large dollar amount at this point, and so things are moving in the right direction, so that's really good news. And then a new executive director has been hired, and I can't find the email, so I cannot tell you her name, but she starts January 9th. She comes from experience in northern Minnesota.
I've heard of one person who hasn't been able to get into the nursing home yet because of a bed not available. Is that because of a bed's really not available, or is it because of staff?
Well, it could be a mixture of both. Heritage has been taking short-term stay as much as they
It would be a
can.
short term, yeah.
Yeah, and so usually that goes through the hospital. The hospital finds, they call around and determine where the person goes according to opening. The VA application was denied, but it's being resubmitted, and they're hoping to hear in April. It's not unusual to be denied the first time. It usually takes 2 or 3 applications of just tweaking. So, we're hopeful.
So, Mr. Chair, if I could add 2 things to that. One is the budget that was approved in September by the Heritage Board showed declining losses for the first 3 months of the year, and then showing positive operations starting in January and/or February. So it appears that we're on track to make that happen. And then a second thing, and more important for this whole board, is I'm going to work with Kay's office to get that budget punched into our software so that when we get detailed reports, on the rest of the county operations, we'll be able to actually show reports from Heritage on a budget year-to-date, so you can see where we are and track that progress in a way that I think will make a little more sense.
Okay. All right, any other business to conduct? If not, motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Okay, we're adjourned.
So Denise,